All right. Well, Nature for You is a brand that I deposited, and these are 100% natural and organic cosmetics, and they're based on vegetable oils and also essential oils. They absolutely have no synthetic substances. It's a cosmetic line that allows for you to have your daily beauty ritual. So the cleansing and the nourishing parts. For the time being, it's composed of 4 facial serums. So for every type of skin, for dry skin, greasy skin, mixed to normal skin, and also for reactive skin, so the rather sensitive skins. And then there is a cleansing product based on sesame oil, and there is a floral water of rose de damas, Damascus rose, and I think it's called blueberry, fleur de bleuet, blueberry flower. For the timing, it's a small line because it was only launched on the 18th of December. But I have plenty of ideas for other cosmetics. So I think during the next years there will be it will be completed, of course. All the products carry the label Nouvelle Cosmétique, so that is an organic label with I would say quite rigorous chart, specifically for cosmetics, and they don't tolerate anything synthetic or something that's chemical, because with most organic labels you have like a small margin, often it's 5%, where they're allowed to have the composition also to have in the composition some synthetic or chemical substances, which is mostly necessary, for example, when you make a day cream, because you need a substance which is called a tensioactive, and that will link together the water phase and the greasy phase, because otherwise, I mean, water and fat don't mix. So you need these substances actually to make it as a cream, like making a mayonnaise. And well, these ingredients are most of the time synthetic. So that's why I'm very proud of the brand, that is really 100% natural, and with oils from very good quality. And it's all small scale. They are being produced in a very small laboratory. So I formulated the cosmetics, but they're being produced in a small lab, because having a lab, which was my first intention, is really difficult. I mean, that's really a job on its own. So they're being produced in France in a very small lab. Everything is done by hand. I mean, the oils, the serums are really poured by hand in the glass bottles, so there are no machines involved. And of course, all the ingredients are organic and of really high quality. So I'm really happy with the products.
Can I ask you something? Can I ask what inspired you to do this?
Yes, of course. So, well, first of all, I should go back a little bit in my personal life, because I consider myself an ambassador of the natural way. I actually, when I was 18, I had a close. I was very close to a person. I lived in Geneva then, who managed the very first organic store in Geneva, La Vie Claire it was called. And that woman, I was told many things by her. And as I was very close to her, at that time already, so I was 18, that's, well, yeah, it wasn't something like 86. I mean, I was getting used to eating soya yogurts, tofu, spirulina on the salads. And for many people, that was just completely unknown. I mean, really something very new. She was a real pioneer. And she was a hygienic dietitian, which is very close to naturopathy, actually. So I learned a lot from her, and I started myself reading books on food by Dr. Kousmine and many other books. However, when I was 30, I got diagnosed Crohn's disease. And that was a real shock for me because I really didn't understand how it was possible that I got that disease. And as it is a disease that is considered chronic for classic medicine, I absolutely wanted to find another way, an alternative, because I didn't want to take medication, allopathic medication for the rest of my life. I didn't want to be operated on. And then followed a quest for many years. So I tried out many therapies. I experimented a lot with nutrition on myself. And the solutions were found. I mean, I'm healed since many, many years. I don't suffer from Crohn's disease at all. And actually, that's also how I became a health practitioner myself, because it wasn't a conscious choice. It was by through this long quest and starting out trainings to help myself that actually made me open a practice in Geneva at first with biophoton therapy. Then I studied naturopathy. I started writing my first book, and many other things followed. So when I decided to come and live here, I had my children, and then I had my own practice in naturopathy here in Roussillon. And I also joined, since a couple of years, the team of the Spa and Wellness Center, the Coquillade, which is a very nice, very beautiful 5-star hotel in Gargas. And their spa is really, how should I say it? They really wanted to develop natural practices. So that's why they wanted a naturopath in their spa. And at one point, the management asked me to introduce also natural cosmetics there. So I did trainings for that. I had to dive into that because it was not my specialty, of course. And one of these trainings was really focused on vegetable oils. And of course, I knew vegetable oils already from, nutrition, on the nutritional side, because we should have them every day, specific type of vegetable oils. And I'll tell you why later, because that's really one dietetic rule to know, to remain in good health. And when I found out about all the virtues, all the qualities for the skin, I was just really, I got passionate about it. And so I did another training also to understand how to formulate yourself cosmetics, how to get them regulated and everything, because that's very, very strict, of course. If you want to put cosmetics on the market, you cannot just do that unofficially. And so that's how it started, actually. And I was also doing already myself at home, making my own toothpaste, making my own deodorants. And I was already using oils like coconut oil. But I really learned during these trainings how to use them. And I was just, flabbergasted. I thought, no, that's something, I have to do something with that. And that's what I did. So last year, actually, as we were in lockdown, it was a really weird year. And I wasn't working at the Coquillade, and not working so much either for naturopathy, because everything was flat, of course. I decided to really work on that project full time. And I wrote 2 ebooks also on cosmetics, on natural cosmetics. And on the 18th of December, I launched the cosmetics. So it was a busy year for me.
And can you tell us a little bit more about the accessibility of those cosmetics, where people can buy them, and also that key what you just mentioned a moment ago about the magic vegetable oils we should all be taking in?
Maybe I'll start out with why the vegetable oils for our health and for our skin, and then I'll speak about where where they're available. Every day we need what we call essential fatty acids. So many people are afraid of eating fat, but we need good fats. Every day we need protein, carbohydrates, and fats. That's just part of your diet. Of course, you need to choose them good quality, but we also need fats every day, even if you want to lose weight. And there are these what we call essential fatty acids, and we call them essential because our bodies cannot produce them. So we need to have them by our food intake. And the best ones, actually, we can find them in fatty fish. So herring, for example, is a real good one, if you like it. But otherwise, you have tuna, you have salmon, but then I would recommend the wild salmon because it's not always from very good quality. Well, all the fatty fish like sardines, mackerel, if you have them 2 or 3 times a week, that's really great. And then we would need to have every day the vegetable oils, or at least a portion. So next to olive oil, which of course here we have it in abundance, which we should have every day too, but which is not so important in that olive oil consists of mainly omega-9s. You all heard of the omegas. These are actually the nominations for specific type of fatty acids. But the omega-9s, our body is able to make it if we have a good food intake. But the omega-3 and 6, and then a specific composition, we would need like 4 portions of omega-6 for 1 portion of omega-3, but you can forget about that. It's just that we need the right oils, which you can find that composition in rapeseed oil, what we call huile de colza, linseed oil also, walnut oil, and then you also have camelina oil, but these are less known. But these we should have every day. So if you make your vinaigrette and you put a little bit of olive oil and a bit of rapeseed oil, that is a great thing. Or if you're afraid not to have your portion for the day, well, then take every morning like a spoonful of rapeseed oil, linseed oil. That's really a dietary rule. And why is it so good? Well, first of all, for the skin, because the skin is only really nourished by what we take in. So that's water and these fatty acids. These are really nourishing our skin from the inside out. And so for the health and the beauty of the skin, and also for our brain, because our brain consists mainly of fat and water. So if you want to avoid Alzheimer or I don't know, these kind of diseases, make sure you have your fatty acid intake and drink enough water. But also for all the processes of the brain, I mean, like memory, concentration, studying, being able to sleep well, not get depressed. So, I mean, the mood and everything concerned with the brain, it's good for that. They're also anti-inflammatory, these fatty acids. So many people nowadays, they actually have chronic inflammation, and which they don't know because the symptoms are various. But these fatty acids, they're anti-inflammatory, so that's wonderful. And the last thing is that they are good for cell renewal and also for the how do I say it, the intra and extracellular processes, because the cell membrane, it consists of 100% fats. So for that membrane to remain intact, it's really important that you have those fatty acids. And researchers say nowadays that actually the brain of our cells, it's not the le noyau, but it's the membrane. It's not the center, but it's the membrane. That's the brain of our cells. So they're really very important. And then for the skin, which is wonderful, is that if you take a vegetable oil, it comes, of course, from originally from a plant. So let's take, for example, argan oil, which you all know comes from Morocco. And that comes from the argan almond. And the argan almond grows on a small tree. So that tree, when it was a seed, it had to, well, take strength to grow, to crack the soil, to grow up towards the sun, fight heat, fight parasites, pollution, wind, cold, whatever. And that is imprinted in the molecules of that plant. So it's also imprinted in the molecules of the oil that originates from the plant. And when you put that on your skin benefits from it as well. And the wonderful thing about these vegetable oils is that we can segment them. So it depends actually where they come from, where they grow on the planet, and what kind of composition they have. So for example, vegetable oils that grow in tropical countries, they never have omega-3s. They're mostly composed of saturated fats, which are really very protective. So we also use them. And then you have the omega-9s, 9s and 7s. Most of the time there's a combination, but dominantly 9s, which are like the olive oil, well, which we don't really use for the skin, but you could. But then you have argan oil, sesame oil, oil nigella. All these have dominantly omega-9s. And the omega-9s, their virtues for the skin, they make your skin very supple. Like they would work on the collagen, we would say. So supple, soft, and they help prevent dehydration. Then we have omega-6. Omega-6, they also make sure that you don't lose too much, your skin doesn't lose too much water, actually, too much liquid. And they nourish the skin. They're also making your skin more supple. We have the omega-3s who are anti-inflammatory. So for everything that's acne, for example, or eczema, I would definitely put in a formula omega-3 oils. And then you have two specific type of fatty acids, which we call acid gras gamma-linolenic. I wouldn't know how to call it in English, but forget about the term. It's just that these fatty acids, you can find them in two vegetable oils, which is borrego oil, huile de bourrache, and evening primrose oil. And they're very, very, very beneficial for skins as from 45 years old, because we tend to lack of these fatty acids. So, for example, in two of my serums, I introduced these oils. So what I want to do when I formulate a serum is I want to combine the different types of fatty acids, so different types of oils. For example, in the serum for fat skin or greasy skin, sorry, I didn't put any saturated fats because these are rather greasy oils. So I don't want to use them on greasy skin. So it starts with, for example, nigella, which has omega-9s, and then there is huile de pépins de raisin, grape seed oil. Yes, that's it. Which, for example, is very astringent, so it will work on the pores of the skin. It will, as most of the time when you have greasy skin, they're dilated, so it will. What is the contrary of resserrer? Make them a little bit smaller, and then and it's also cicatrisant. It will work on the scars on the skin. So when you have acne, for example, most of the time it leaves, well, not scars, big word, but it leaves your skin imperfect. So that would also help to heal your skin. And then there is, I put in an oil which is very strong in omega-3, so that's anti-inflammatory. It's also, it will help this, it will soften because these skins are often very reactive. So that is actually the way I would go about. I would formulate them with different types of oils, and then I would, of course, look at the quantity. So I would put much less greasy oils in a serum for greasy skin. Then I would put in a serum for dry skin. In dry skin, for example, there is what we call, I'm trying to find the English term, huile de rose musquée. Yeah, that's chili rose oil, which is a wonderful oil. It has many omega-3s. It is a dry oil, but I wouldn't put it in an oil for greasy skin because it is what we call the comedogene. So it can, if you have greasy skin, it can actually make the black spots worse. So anyway, there are many possibilities with the oils once you know about their qualities, and I just find it fascinating. So that's the way I formulated them, and that's how you can use them actually.
And
what I just want to say, one more thing is that, which is also very important with the oils, is that due to that composition, the fatty acids, they are bioidentic to our hydrolipidic film. So the skin will recognize it as something of its own. So it will really be nourished by them, contrary to any other substances which are not bioidentic.
And can I just ask you, if you don't know what your skin is, for example, or if it's not obvious, okay, it's obvious if you've got a greasy skin or you've got acne or something like that, but if you don't, skin's your skin type of thing, is there advice on your labels? Do you know how to direct people to what would be most beneficial?
No, actually, you're giving me a point there. I should actually direct people, because it's very simple. I mean, you should ask yourself a couple of questions. Does your skin shine? I mean, perhaps not your entirely, but most of the time it's on the forehead, on the nose, and on the chin. Or does it shine all over? Then it's greasy. And most of the time you can see it. I mean, the pores are really dilated, and often, it's skin that easily gets pimples. But if it shines and it is also uncomfortable in the way, in French I would say la peau elle tire. How would you say that in English? It's
when you, for example, for myself, sometimes it feels tight.
That's what I mean, yes. So if it feels tight and it also shines on some parts, then you would have mixed skin. If you don't have any of these symptoms, you have a normal skin. And then if it feels tight and uncomfortable all over, then you have dry skin. And it's good to know that the older we get, we tend to get more yin, as we say in Chinese traditional medicine, and then our skin gets more and more dry. It's not the case of everyone, but that is a tendency we have. So actually there are these two questions. Is my skin tight and does it shine? And if it does both, it's mixed skin. If it shines in general, it's a greasy skin. And if it's tight all over, it's a dry skin. And dry skin is often, how should I say that? It's often very fine-grained skin. So
and
you can't really see the pores.
And
so my daughter and I both have a dry skin, but I am 46 and she is 15. Can we use the same product?
Yes, of course. Of course. Yes.
And it will work okay.
It's nothing to do with age, actually. I'm just giving you the clue for dry skin and age because it's a tendency we have. But no, if your daughter has dry skin at that age, yes, she can. But there's a difference between dry skin and dehydrated skin, because dry skin often it's constitutional. I mean, I have dry skin. I know it's constitutional, so it won't. I won't say it won't go away, because with the vegetable oils, it's really it doesn't feel tight anymore when I use them. But you have dehydrated skin, which feels tight, but that can be a mixed skin, and it's only dehydrated because you don't. Then the person doesn't nourish its skin enough from the inside. That means they don't drink enough water, and they don't have their fatty acid intake. So that is also a concept, by the way, that I have developed, which you can find on my website, and I call it natural cosmetic, because you cannot really nourish the skin from the outside. You can prevent dehydration. Yeah, you can nourish it, but I mean, you can only prevent really from the skin losing water. You really only nourish it from the inside out. It really starts there. So that's why it's so important. I give these sessions for people who have either skin problems like eczema, psoriasis, or just want to know more about how to take care of their skin. You have to take care also of your food intake, your nutrition,
Yeah, of course.
I mean, even just a stupid thing, like if you don't have enough sleep, I mean, you won't look good. It all has an impact on your whole organism, and the skin is the biggest organ actually we have. It is an organ. So, and that is a real fantastic way to work on your skin, because when you combine the internal treatments, food, and the external treatments, you really get very good results.
So in your the products that you have, you don't really have a special thing for the older skin. Does that mean that in the whole cosmetic world, the whole anti-wrinkle special creams for people above, for the ladies above 50, is that just bogus or not?
I would say yes, because vegetable oils in general, they will be preventing aging, because they nearly all, well, not all of them, I would say all the ones with the high, which are highly composed of omega-6, omega-3s, the other fatty acids, I mentioned the rare ones. And they are all composed actually also of antioxidants, and vitamin E, for example, which is a fatty acid, is an antioxidant. And these are the substances we need to fight against free radicals. And it's the free radicals that make our skin age. So using vegetable oils, I mean, yes, they are all nearly all anti-aging, at least anyway in my serums, because I mix all of them. They're always omega-3 vegetable oils, because they're so useful. They're so, I would never make one without omega-3 vegetable oil. So yes, you're actually right. I think it's a good way to market your product, but the serums, may they be for greasy skin or for mixed skin, they're all anti-aging because of that the presence of the omega-3s and omega-6.
So why did you choose sesame oil in the cleanser? What is the special thing about that?
That is a good question, because actually, as I only have one cleanser, it's a universal one, and I wanted it to be used for all types of skin. Sesame oil is an oil that can be used for all kinds of skin, because it has a quality that is, it regulates the secretion of the sebum. So if you have a greasy skin, which means that the secretion is really rather heavy, then it would calm that secretion down. And if you have dry skin, when it isn't enough, then it will regulate that also. And that's the wonderful thing about sesame oil. And there's another oil that does the same thing. It's jojoba oil, which actually is not an oil. It's a sort of a wax, but it comes in the form of an oil. And that, for example, is in the serum for greasy skin, because it regulates the sebum. And that's really important when you have greasy skin, because the over secretion of sebum will actually block the pores of the skin, and then the bacteria can evolve, and that gives, well, the acne, the pimples, and the inflammation. So it's very important to regulate that production of sebum.
So I always had the impression that when it's a product, a cosmetic product is 100% natural, that I have to use it really quick, because it might that you can't use it for too long. Because yes. How does that work with your products?
Yes, so that's something that I do mention on the page of the products. My serums, if you use them straight away, you can leave them in your bathroom without a problem. Just don't put them in the sun or near your heater. But if you would buy a serum and you're not going to use it for the first couple of months, then it's best to leave them in the fridge.
Okay.
Because, like you say, there are fresh ingredients, which is better for the skin. But then, as they are fresh, especially the more vulnerable oils, so the omega-3 oils, they can what we call oxygenate. So that then when we would use them, they're not useful anymore for your skin. You don't get the quality that they normally would perform on your skin. But I mean, it's not a real problem. It's just if you don't use them straight away, keep them in your, store them in your fridge, and if you use them, then you can just leave them in the bathroom. But just note, never place them in the sun or next to a heater. But you can, as from the production time, they have a preemption date of 2 years. So because there is a natural conservative in it, which is sorry, natural vitamin E, which have 2 qualities. It's an antioxidant, and it's also conserving actually the oils. And the oils in themselves, they also have that vitamin E, so it's there. That really helps them to be conserved a little bit longer. But it's true, they are fresh ingredients, so it's best to use them straight away.
Okay.
And that's also why I am only ordering small quantities at my lab, so that I'll never store them for too long before selling them.
That's you've given us some really amazing tips, I think, for this time. Can I just ask you now, if you how can we buy these? How can we get our hands on these things? We need to know.
Of course, there's my website, I think, which you mentioned, which is natureforyou.fr, on which you can get lots of information. There's a blog also with inspiring articles about natural cosmetics, about different types of oils. And for the time being, there are 3 selling points, local selling points. So there is the recently opened store, which is called Terra Wrak in Abt. So Terra Wrak is really an organic and no waste store. So for my cosmetics, it's not possible not to have packaging, of course, but everything comes without packaging. So there are also some cosmetics there which don't have packaging, which don't need them, like soaps. But at least the cosmetics that are that she sells, they're all local, they're ethical, they're being produced small scale. So it's really an ethical store, very pretty store, really something to discover. Then there is the pharmacy in Roussillon, which is my village actually. So it's maybe a tip to go and visit the lovely Okra village and pop by the pharmacy. And they're also available in a jewelry store called Ikemana in Pernes-les-Fontaines. So Ikemana is a store held by the creator Sonja Kuikstra. And Sonja is a authentic creator of jewelry, very refined jewelry. She only works with stones, so semi-precious stones. And she's specialized in the Herkimer diamond, which is a quartz with amplified qualities. And she makes the jewelry, well, you can buy them, of course, the jewelry she made in a store, but she makes them, I would say, on a personal level. So she meets you, and then she, well, like you actually, Sabine, she would feel what kind of stone you need at this specific moment in your life. And she'll make a lovely bracelet or necklace with her stones. And I'm really happy to be in her store because the cosmetics blend in perfectly. Yes.
So that's fantastic, Sonja. I wish you a lot of luck with this, and thanks. I know that I will be certainly buying from you, because I think this is it's something that I've always been interested in anyway, and I'm sure everyone else will be very excited about this new development that you have made in the last, well, it's probably taken years and years to get to this point, but
yes, it took me 2 years. Yes,
yes.
Yeah.
But
last year it was an acceleration.
But now that you're sharing it and we'll be able to buy it, that sounds fantastic. So I want to thank you all very much, and thank you.
Well, thank you, Rebecca, for having me here. It was a real pleasure.